Listen.
Okay.
This is going to be an ASMR.
All right. Okay, I put the too early. My bad.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you may have
Jumped the gun.
You may have just enjoyed the open there. Literal cold open today.
Oh.
But this thing that I just opened, since we're not going to have video for this portion, is a heart attack in a can. A Ghost energy drink. Oh, sirens.
Oh, yeah, take a shot of Ghost energy drink, I guess.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Uh-oh.
As if on cue.
Whoa.
You know what really grinds my gears? Is when you talk about doing shots.
And then you don't take a shot.
Now, I know you guys are working right now, so you may not be able to partake, but I'm not working.
But you can take one for each of us.
Okay, we can do that if you want.
That's fair.
We're going to have to get you an Uber home, but...
That's fine. I'll walk across the street, have a steak and shake or whatever they have across the street. I'm not sure what they have across the street.
The fact that you came prepared with that and waited for this moment is delightful.
And the fact that it happened straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, I even got so nothing gets broken. Gentlemen, can
I'm going to pass.
I can't either. Yeah,
Listen,
apologies.
I want you to enjoy it extra hard for me.
I just wanted, you know.
Now, tell me what you're pouring here.
I have no idea. It was a gift.
A gift? Okay.
Yep.
So probably bougie a little bit.
Brothers
Bond?
Bond. No, I don't know anything about it.
If it's bottled in bond, then it's held to the highest federal standards.
Absolutely.
Which, as we all know, is very low standard.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been waiting a long time to do this as a fan of the show.
The first actual shot on the show where we said take a shot for over 30 episodes.
Glad we could do it.
Enjoy that. Enjoy that vicariously.
If you change your mind, it's right here.
Yeah, well,
You are listening to The Soapbox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I've compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears. And I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel man the opposite position because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey.
I got to say, you're probably my oldest friend from Kentucky.
Yeah, that is probably true. I was thinking about that.
About age, though.
Age.
I'm pretty sure he's not talking about that now.
I moved to Kentucky in November 92. Hung out in the Henry Clay, not the pit. The pit was done by then, right?
Maybe.
But the little area in between lunches, playing hacky sack. And you played guitar with Josh Filson and Josh Foley.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
And you heard I played bass. New guy in town from Wisconsin plays bass. You're like,
yeah, I think we were I can't remember if the three of us were playing at the time and needed a bass player. I can't remember how it happened, but...
yeah, because Josh Foley played guitar, Josh Filson played drums, you played guitar.
Yes.
I played bass. You're like, perfect. And I was like, yeah, but my brother plays guitar. And you guys were kind of like, well, come try out. And we did like an audition or whatever. And it was... I think I told you this the other day, Paul. I still remember this verbatim. Josh Filson came up to me, I think the next day at school during the little lunch break, and he's like, "Hey, walk with me, talk with me." You know how he is, right?
Yeah.
Puts his arm around me, and
You said he's a freshman, right?
He was a freshman. I was a
so
junior.
immediately I'm
Yeah, I
thinking
think-
Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah, exactly. Ferris.
Yeah.
He absolutely the Ferris Bueller type. Super cool. Oh well. We gotta bleep that out. Anyway, every time we have one of my old friends on, I get the.
It's okay. I play hockey. I've heard that word.
Yeah. So he walked in. He's like, "Man, we really want you to play. We need a bass player, but your brother." He's like, "We don't need a third guitarist."
Yeah.
So I had to let him down.
Yeah.
Sorry, Spawn. But I didn't call you Smiley back then, and I don't know that many people did or anyone did. You were Ryan.
Yeah.
And
Which confused the heck out of me because you guys were emailing about the podcast. And I'm like, who the heck is Ryan?
Yeah, right.
I've only ever known you as Smiley.
Yeah. It was just his childhood nickname, you know?
really?
Anybody who asks, I tell them it was a prison nickname. I don't like to talk about it. That's a prison nickname.
That's what I carved into my victims.
Yeah. So
you want to know how I got this smile?
but it's stuck since like 8th grade, so nobody knows who Ryan is.
Okay. Wow. So I really don't remember people calling you Smiley in the band, and we can't even say the name of the band, right?
No, not if you want to keep it PG or even PG-13.
Yeah.
So,
well, Smiley, Ryan,
yes,
whatever your name is, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on, and I'm a fan. I've listened to almost every episode, except the ones that I'm not smart enough to comprehend. There's several of those. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm proudly the dumbest guest you've had on. You have a lot of intellectuals on who have a lot of interesting things to talk about it. I'm the one who, I don't know, I'm going to make fart jokes, I guess, most of the time. So.
Now you're speaking my language. Yeah. You did have to qualify that by saying dumbest guest, because you also have a dumb guy that's co-host.
It's going to work out just fine.
It's Eric.
Okay, right. Hey, that's fair.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. We've known each other since the mid-90s.
Yeah.
That was
You're
pretty
talking
crazy.
about the 1900s.
1900s, early.
1900s,
Yeah. No joke. 1992 November. That's when we moved, and we kind of lost touch with each other for some years there.
I don't know if you remember this. We did. We just kind of, he graduated early. I was in school another 2 or 3 years, whatever it was. And we bumped into each other at, I want to say it was a bar somewhere. And it was one of those, like, there was a recognition, like, how do I know you? Because it had been probably 10 years at that point. We're like, did you?
Was it Marika's?
I think it was.
Probably was
yeah.
Marika's.
Did you play music? Oh, we were in the band together. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we did lose touch for a little bit. And
Now,
then
you reconnected in the bar setting. Now, what kept the connection going?
I don't know, actually.
I'm trying to think, because
One of you guys had to have been in a band and invited the other one to a show. Is that?
That might have been it, because we were both in bands, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You might have been doing Arizona Bay at the time.
Orange Whip would have been.
Might have been one of those.
Yeah, probably Arizona Bay or Louder Than Larry or one of those.
Because I came to a lot of those shows. Honestly, I bet that was it. I bet it was, hey, are you still playing music? Yeah, I'm doing this. And yeah, me too. I'm doing that. I bet it was one of those situations. Like
with you, it was you were playing a show at, maybe it was McCarthy's.
Yeah.
And you wanted to play a Foo Fighters song, and you called me up to play bass.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Do you remember what song it was? It was my favorite.
It was Everlong.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also remember that we played it in a different tuning. so I'm up there trying to play the verse, because I think I was playing Louder Than Larry at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Everlong the way we played it, and you guys are playing in a different key. And you guys both look over at me like, I tried to adjust. I don't know if we made it work or not. We didn't get booed off stage.
I don't remember. And they were all drunk anyway.
Yeah.
McCarthy's. Yeah. In the mid 2000s. Yeah.
I never got asked back to and I will say, just to whatever. There's one other time a guy called me up on stage to come play. I was out with my sister who was in town, and this guy Tom I played with a little bit over the years. He called me up to play a Jimi Hendrix song that I'd never tried to play, but he was like, it's three chords. And I was like, oh, sweet, okay.
Yeah.
I ended up playing this song, and it's like, woohoo! I looked like a big deal, but
Yeah, I've had a few of those over the years, and fortunately, I just know enough about playing where I can at least fake it.
Yeah.
Because I'm as a sort of musician. I don't know. I can see what people are doing sometimes, but a lot of times I'm watching. I'm like, I don't know what that guy. Like if that guy asked me to play with him, bar chords I could do all day long, and some little leads here and there if I can pick out a key. I'm kind of a musician, but not really.
you play like 1,000 songs, though. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
If you know that many songs,
At some point, you cross over, you just don't recognize it.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true
effect,
too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we played for 20 years at this point. I don't know how many songs we do, and a lot of them you learn, and once you do it, there's so many songs that are the exact same song.
Yeah. Just different.
Sing a new thing over top of it. So we get a lot of mileage out of that trick too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, there's one other time I thought of was a work related. Okay. Bill Bell was doing a partnering conference thing, and he had this guy singing and playing guitar, and Bill got up there and played guitar. He said, "Hey, do you want to come play Elderly Woman I was like, oh shoot, that song. the
3 chords.
the chords were written in the liner notes of the. So everyone learned that song.
Nice.
But that was kind of fun.
That's awesome. So I'm going to pivot here.
Yeah.
Great conversation on music,
Yes.
but our format has evolved a little bit into not talking about the thing that you're an expert on necessarily, but just things that you're passionate about. And the lead-in is always the same. The question, what grinds your gears? So I'll ask you that question now.
Sure.
I know that being a listener of the show, you've had a chance to think about this, and we've had the mildest discussion of what that is, but we left a lot on the table because we really want to go into this conversation organically.
Sure. I've got a couple things. The first thing, what grinds my gears, is this rabbit trail situation. I will not abide. I will not abide by rabbit trail. Since Eric invited me on this thing, I have spent so much time researching, and I understand the delineation between the rabbit trail and the rabbit hole. There are differences, and I've looked them all up, and I understand, but I'm just saying I will not abide by this rabbit trail situation. It, for me, will always be going down a rabbit hole. There are songs about the rabbit hole. There are movies
Jefferson
about the rabbit hole. The Matrix is the rabbit hole. They mentioned something about that. I will not be saying rabbit trail ever.
We're going to take it back. This is great. I did not put him up to this, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the things I wanted to keep it sort of spontaneous. So
No, that's fantastic. Honestly, I'm willing to accept that. I do like the delineation.
Sure.
I'll stick with it, but I don't know that I've often been the rabbit trail guy.
yeah, well, I'd never heard it until you guys were saying it. And I was like, what the hell are these guys talking about? And then I think it was like episode 3 or 4, you kind of explained what it was. It was just one of those, I was like, I've never heard this phrase. I didn't know there was a difference. I just always said rabbit hole. And then then I went into a literal rabbit hole, if you will, of like, well, where does it come from? And I'm Googling like popular uses of rabbit trail, and I'm not finding anything. And you Google popular uses of rabbit hole, and you find there's a Matrix reference, and there's a Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah.
And I want to say that's like a Blink 182 song. I might be wrong, but there's another song about it. There's no mentions of rabbit trail. And I was like, these guys
in pop culture. Right?
In pop that I could come up with, at least, yes. It's like, these guys are way off base.
Okay.
So please continue using it, but know that I'll be screaming at you through these speakers.
I fully expect to see angry comments in the comment
yes,
section.
Perfect. I can do it.
Yeah, and if you could just go ahead and incite some other people so we can get those views. That would be great, too.
Okay. Sounds good.
He had that one in the pocket.
I did.
Man.
That was one I wanted to kind of throw at you at the last minute.
Have you paid attention to the new intro since we started season 2?
I don't know if I have.
The video, though, you have to be watching.
I don't really watch the video portion of it, I guess.
Pop it up just for funsies because you've actually touched on 2 things that appear already. The Take a Shot in our cold open.
Gotcha.
And also the Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
She makes a brief appearance, which
I like it.
Going down a rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole. Trying to avoid the Disney lawyers, but I guess.
Paul doesn't know this, but nobody watches the video, I guess. And
at least it's there. It's available
there for posterity. And when we make it big, somebody's going to watch.
Exactly. Eventually it'll be out there.
Did you guys know there's videos?
Yeah, this whole time we can rewatch the whole thing.
Man, they really are as ugly as they've been.
Yeah, if you can imagine. But yeah, the topic I wanted to talk about today, what really grinds my gears, is of course going through a global pandemic. How many years ago?
5 now.
5, yeah.
God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
One of the things, I have always been a nighttime person, worked in restaurants my whole life, or bars. My longtime girlfriend also was a bartender for years and years and years, and now she's been a nurse for the last 6-7 years, and she works 3rd shift. So for my basically entire adult life, I would get off work, go to the grocery store by myself, headphones, do my grocery shopping, get home, meal prep, hang out, listen to music by myself at the house, just do the thing.
And this would be 2, 3 in the morning?
Yeah, I've always been a night owl. So yeah, going to bed at 2 or 3 is a pretty normal thing for me. And then you get up and you go to work and whatever. So, but since COVID, or during COVID, they stopped doing 24-hour stores pretty much altogether. Like all the Krogers closed at, I think, 10 now. And then you always had Walmart. Like if the grocery store is closed, you can always go to Walmart. It's open 24 hours. Now it's like at 11 o'clock or something. And I think there's like a Meijer or something might stay open. But
no, Meijer even quit too.
But they close. I think they stay open till like, I want to say midnight.
Okay.
But even so, there are times where I can't get to the grocery store or gas station near my house because, I either work late or something. So that's aggravating to me. And I don't fear technology. I don't fear improvements and change and innovation. I like all those things, and I can still do it. You can order groceries, obviously. You can order things in now, but it's just, for 30 years, I was just able to go to the grocery whenever I wanted, and now I've got to plan my day around going to the grocery store or getting gas next to my house.
I've never loved the idea of the delivery groceries because I'm not that well planned.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to the store, if I'm planning a meal, I might get there and, hey, I felt this avocado and I was going to make some guacamole, but it's firm and I'm not going to be able to use it for 2 or 3 days. So I'm going to pivot based on a decision I make in the store and maybe do a different meal that night.
Exactly.
You can't do that with the ordering groceries.
And I'm convinced they specifically give you the worst produce they can find because you're not there to pick it out and they're looking to get rid of it anyway. So I am convinced, having the handful of times that I've ordered groceries in, that's the case.
So this whole grocery ordering thing existed briefly before the pandemic. Like, it was out there. I had friends that did. Chad had talked about it, and he complained that there were issues if they didn't have the thing.
Yeah,
they would either automatically get something else, or they just tell you you're out. I mean, and it never occurred to me. I was like, why would I want to use this? This sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice. Like, there've been a couple times where I'm making like chili, for the game or something. And you can order, 6 cans of beans and 6 like things that, aren't perishable or, some easy things. And that's fine. That's convenient. I've used it a couple times. But just being able to go after work when there was nobody there, it was so nice. And do the thing. I can't do it anymore.
You said headphones too.
Yeah.
So you're listening to music or maybe listening to a great podcast. I don't know.
Frequently.
But no, so you're kind of like, I do that. I very often, say, hey, I'll go to the grocery, put the headphones on, listen to music.
There's something nice about it, right? Yeah. There's something nice about just being out and in a different environment than your house or your office or your place of employment, just to kind of go and meander. I think we've lost a little bit of that culturally too.
I mean, even the Walmart thing. I'm not a big fan of Walmart, but sometimes, especially being someone that's up late, frequently I would need, I need a measuring tape for something, and I could just go. It was no big deal just to go out and get it. And now it's like, I can't do it today, and I work tomorrow, and that's right, I have that appointment on Tuesday, and I got to do. It's like it's so much less convenient for me. It's an inconvenience to me.
I've seen that. And you touched on this too with gas, right? Gas stations also did that.
Yeah, like by my house at one time, there was a pharmacy, it was a Rite Aid, which is something else now, the Kroger, and then there was the Shell gas station. I could do those. I could come home from work and do all of those things. And also my bank was there, so I'd deposit my money in the nighttime ATM, all those things, and take care of all my errands. And now I can deposit my nighttime money into the bank, and everything else has to wait till tomorrow or the next day or whatever. So
there's a rabbit trail for you.
Rabbit hole.
Don't get me started.
I've said this to you before, but you're on my list of people I call when I've got a 20-minute drive, right? And hands free, and I do all the safe whatever. But if I got to drop the kid off at soccer and I got a 20-minute drive back, I'm like, man, I haven't talked to Smiley in a while. Give you a ring. Every time I call you and you pick up, which means you're probably not at work, you're doing what?
I don't know.
You're running errands. Every time I call you.
Is the answer pooping?
I mean, a lot of times, yes.
But
maybe that's code for running errands. Do we just bridge a gap?
That might be your code word. But yeah, I catch you running errands all. I'm like, who runs this many errands?
Maybe.
You do like spicy food.
Yes, indeed. It's funny. My girlfriend and I do. That's what we do, kind of to spend our time together. It's like, what do you have to do today? Well, I got to do this and this. Well, I do too. And we'll make a day out of it, and we'll get some lunch, and then we'll pick up dry cleaning, and then we'll walk the dog, take the dog to a new park or something that we haven't been to, or to one of the Legacy Trail. We did that the other day. And so, yeah, you're right. I never really thought about it, but I do run maybe an abnormal amount of errands. It's true. Yeah. But I kind of enjoy taking care of day-to-day tasks, I guess.
This is one note that I've made, and this is consumer behavior that changes during COVID. Because you touched on delivery groceries, but one that's always irritated me, and this is perhaps my get off my lawn old man moment for the podcast. But DoorDash, how lazy do you have to be to pay a $5 or $6 delivery fee and tip on a $7 order?
It's wild.
Yeah.
And people do that. And I'm convinced, and again, I know I might catch a little heat in the comment section. I'm convinced these are the same people that complain about not being able to afford to buy a house or pay off their student loan.
Yeah. When you look at how much it costs to deliver your McDonald's food, as opposed to just going to the drive-thru and picking it up.
It should not be $15. Like, you should be able to make that trip and be in sub 10, and with 4 minutes of travel time? There's a McDonald's every other block.
It's pretty wild.
I'd love to see the stats on it, but I bet rich people don't use these services.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Well, it's interesting, though, because I think the pandemic kind of spoon-fed this.
Yes.
It was free.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really your only option. It was great. It was convenient. And then, some of the things.
And then just like Dare tells you, once they get you hooked on a free product.
If you'll allow me to go down a rabbit hole just for a second here.
So wait, just to be clear, is this one that's really deep and or is it a quick little, I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in between.
There you go.
Every rabbit hole is a trail from that, right?
Yeah. So during pandemic, I was dating my girlfriend, whose name is Johanna, by the way. Hello, Johanna. Yeah. Love you. She lived in, I'll try to sort of simplify the story. She lived in an area, there was an apartment complex on one side of the driveway, and there were 20 duplexes on the other side of this driveway. The duplexes were numbered 1 through 20, and the apartment had probably, 10 different buildings, and all the buildings were numbered 1 through 20. Or 1 through 10, rather, I'm sorry.
Fantastic.
So there are 10 buildings, all number 1 through 10, and then on the other side of the street, there are duplexes number 1 through whatever. So hers was number 8, 9, whatever it is. So when you drive into this particular area, if you look to the right, her number was right there. So it said 8 right here. And so we got, without exaggeration, 25 food orders that were not ours over the course. It might have been more than 25.
Wow. Did you ask
over the course of pandemic.
What did we order before you sent them away?
Well, so here's the thing. They weren't knocking on your door. They were just putting it there and leaving. Yeah. So we would come home and there would be a pizza, or we'd go run errands, as we are apt to do, and come home and there would be, something from some restaurant we never heard of. I mean, I'm talking White Castle was there one night. Sometimes, again,
Johanna, we've got to get drunk.
Look, they just provided us dinner.
We can't eat this without alcohol.
Yeah. We would get home and it would have been sitting there all day and there'd be ants all over it. It's like, well, we got to throw this away. But then occasionally you'd get home from, whatever, going to the bank, and there'd be a fresh hot pizza sitting there and the name on it's, Tiffany or whatever. And I was like, I'll never forget. There was one day I got over there and I got to her house, and she is a DoorDash, or she used to be more, DoorDash order. So I came home and there was some sort of fancy tropical fruit smoothie cafe, and that's her thing. I was like, yeah, she definitely ordered this food. So she was walking the dog, and I kind of knew the route she took. So I went the opposite and met her around, and she was drinking her smoothie. And I was like, you ordered the smoothie, didn't you? And she turned the cup around and it said Yolanda on it or something like that. She's like, nope. She walked out. There was a smoothie there. She knew what was going on. She knew they weren't taking food back during those times. So she would just, I'm gonna walk around with my smoothie, walk the dog, have a good day. I mean, we ate like kings.
There's another component to this that has irritated me, and I don't know why I've not thought about it until this moment. It could have been its own topic, I think. Have you seen Dash Mart?
Yeah, it's like a convenience store.
You can't use it. You can't
go to it.
So it occupies what used to be, I think, a Rite Aid on Harrodsburg Road.
Yeah.
At the intersection of Harrodsburg and Mason Headley.
Oh, right.
It's very, very convenient if you
Campbell
live in
House.
Gardenside. It's
right.
Yeah. And if you happen to stay at the Campbell House, it would have been the option you could walk to.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's only for
DoorDash drivers, so that they can charge you a fee to deliver something you should have been able to just go and purchase on your own.
Yeah, you could.
That is dystopian.
I've seen what you're talking about. I've seen that place. I did not know that I just assumed you could go in and buy whatever you needed.
It's got signage which would make you think that, and I think it's only there because not every driver is a regular driver for that service. But I thought, great, we're going to get a convenience store. I can stop in on my way home if I want to pick up a quick whatever.
Yeah.
Nope. Inaccessible without paying a delivery fee.
I had no idea.
So since we're on brand with the with the podcast, let me attempt to steel man, because I totally agree. It sounds just like a horrible model, but to steelman it a little bit, I would think that the inside of that building is not set up for a customer to shop, and it's set up for someone to find things, pull them, and give them to the dash driver. So I can imagine that you could, if you're going to design a building as an inventory versus designing a building for shopping,
for someone's convenience or something. Maybe
some convenience. A flimsy steel man, I'll give you, but
I'll give you that with one notable exception, and that is that the location is so convenient for everybody else.
Yeah, it's at the corner of a busy intersection.
So pick a building that wouldn't be considered prime real estate and use that.
Yeah.
I guess Amazon's that way too, because you can't shop at Amazon,
Right.
but it's a store full of stuff.
It's outside.
But yeah,
of
it's
them,
in a warehouse way off. There's no windows. There's no signage.
There is an Amazon store you can walk into. You can shop. It scans you as you come in. It sees what you're picking off the shelves. You
This
don't
in
have to
Lexington?
pay. It's not in Lexington. I think these are like Seattle and like larger population centers. But you can walk in, take whatever you want off the shelf. It IDs you and it connects it to your Amazon account and it bills you when you leave.
See, are they 24 hours though? Because then I'm in. I'm doing it.
If there's no cashier, there's no reason not
Sure,
to.
yeah.
You got to drive to Seattle, but
I mean, I would consider,
think about all the errands you can run on your way
to Seattle. How many errands I can take care of?
Of course, you're not going to have 24-hour gas stops, so wah.
I don't know.
Meyer does have a service. I think this came out of the pandemic too, maybe, where you can basically scan and shop throughout, and then just scan your receipt, and then I think they spot check like 4 items or something,
just to make sure you're not shoplifting.
Yeah, and then so I don't know how many people are pulling off elaborate.
I do see regression on some of the.
Oh, hey,
You need to calm down, sir.
you made me turn my mic, and now it's all. Yeah.
Yep, sorry about that. I do see regression with some of the things that got normalized. The U-Scan is one of them. I'm a regular Home Depot shopper because I work on my basement basically as my second job. And it used to be you just go to the thing, scan it, nobody checked, nobody cared, and there was so much theft. That now they have operators on high volume days. They take a tote and they put it over the U-Scan, and they'll sit there with their little price gun and check you out to kind of walk back the notion that they've installed these things.
I've not seen that before, but I have heard that the self-checkout makes it, I guess, really easy to steal. I've heard that before.
But it's probably worth it in terms of they're not paying for a cashier. And
Maybe. I don't know.
Somebody does that shrink math.
Yeah. See, at a grocery store, I could see. I mean, what's the most expensive thing at a grocery store?
Some sort of steak or something. I don't know. Lobster, caviar. Who knows?
Yeah, but if you're scanning the Ryobi drill and then walking out with the DeWalt, then
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being problematic. I want to talk about something that is closer to your everyday. You mentioned that you're in service, and you've been in the service industry for a long time.
Yes.
My perception of the service industry has radically shifted during COVID. It used to be, my impression was generally people tried really hard to earn the tip, and if you went out, you could expect a certain level of service. Now we won't name the restaurant, but you're working in a finer dining establishment.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that level hasn't dropped too much. But have you noticed other places, maybe the Applebee's quality dining, where people just don't give a crap if you're there and they act like you're a burden and they never refill your glass? Has that, in your perception, exacerbated during the pandemic?
We were really lucky. The place I work was once the pandemic happened, the next day we were a takeout restaurant. So, and I don't know that we don't really have a lot of issues of people. Every place you work is going to have people that don't tip. It's going to happen, daily, certainly weekly. But I think at a certain level, you're sort of, if you're talking about a chain restaurant, it's a little different clientele than some of the other restaurants in town that are sort of considered nicer restaurants. So we have a little bit of that, but largely we're immune. Sometimes we're immune to that sort of thing. Mostly we're immune to that sort of thing.
I think what Paul's talking about hits kind of the fast food or the
maybe I guess I'm trying to make your particular establishment an exception because I've been there recently. I was very impressed. Not your location, but the other location.
Oh, now we know there are two.
I just said Applebee's. No, but if you've gone out and you're just out and you're receiving service, have you noticed a drop in enthusiasm?
Oh, in general,
in general.
Yeah, you know what? I would say that. I think, and I don't know. Again, this might be like me being, you might get off the lawn sort of moment. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but yeah, no, I would say that there's maybe a little bit of a difference because a lot of these places just are looking for essentially warm bodies to come in and fill a space. And sometimes you don't have the ability to be super picky. Now, I will say a lot of the, some of the nicer places in town that are busy all the time have a little bit more leeway in that people want to work there because you make good money there. And if somebody's not working out or if someone's a pain in the ass or if they're something, we're pretty quick to get rid of them. If they're a negative attitude, if they have somebody that's just bringing the rest of the group down with negativity, pretty quick to kind of pair that off and move along. But yes, I do think a lot of places suffer from, I guess, complacency or laziness or both just because they need people to fill spots.
I think there's another piece to that, which is they could get away with a lot during the pandemic.
Sure.
You're talking about the employees
The
themselves.
employees and the businesses even. But I mean, like you didn't have to make eye contact. You didn't have to talk to people. Setting it down on the porch like you're talking about. Like there were all these things that probably young service industry employees were learning, and then as things lifted away, they're like, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Do you think one of the components of that is that you've got a younger workforce who maybe had social skills that were hindered by a development that should have happened during their social years in the pandemic?
I could see that being a bit of an issue. Yeah, sure. That makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know. I've definitely noticed it a little bit. And because I'm, in the industry, I don't want to say I'm critical, but it's the thing I notice because it's not a particularly difficult job to do, but there are finer points, just like anything. Little tricks here and there. And if you do it long enough, you know how to read people and how to read situations. And yeah, some places you go are great. And then other places, it's just kind of like wow, this guy does not care at all. Like is not even trying, just expecting it. And because I'm in the industry, a lot of times I find myself tipping that person anyway, which is probably not the best message to send, but it's one of those things that's so ingrained into my brain a lot of times.
You would have been the perfect guy for our tipping point episode that we did.
I do have a vague recollection of that. Yeah,
I thought you had some notes on it.
I remember you talking about it, but it seemed, I can't remember now what it was. But yes, I remember the episode.
That's cool. We also talked about work culture a little bit ahead of time, and one thing that you talked about that you thought was a positive, because you're the optimist in the room. I think
I am a lot of times. Yeah, I definitely try to find sort of the positive side of things frequently.
You mentioned Zoom calls and things like that. Do you want to unpack that point?
Yeah, I just, it was, not to make light of anything that happened in the pandemic because it was a terrible thing and literally thousands and thousands of people lost lives, but there were a lot of things that came out of the pandemic that were good. Certainly not the 24-hour grocery course situation, but yeah, like how Zoom calls and telehealth calls, how those things were just, they've revolutionized. Like I've done a couple of telehealth appointments now. It's so convenient for something that you don't, it's just a little illness that you may need an antibiotic or something simple for, or something. But yeah, I thought like that was such a cool thing, and like how much businesses can save on travel costs because they can just do a Zoom meeting rather than sending somebody to, Des Moines, Iowa for a conference or something like that.
Yeah, for us, there was a time where it was such a regular trip to Frankfurt to have a face-to-face meeting that some people had badges to get into the building who weren't employees of the cabinet. And I think that's largely gone away. There's still face-to-face meetings that need to happen, and they do happen with less frequency, but when they happen, it's more intentional. But you can hop on a Zoom call and have that, that conversation, and nobody has to fill out a travel form.
Yeah,
it is interesting. I feel like it is shifting a little too. For like the soccer booster club where we used to meet, in the high school library. Now we can make it a Zoom. Everyone's got the equipment. Because think 6 years ago, try to get on a Zoom call with your mom.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Why are you getting on a Zoom call with my mom?
Well, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, I remember, gosh, it's probably, and you and I are kind of techie people anyway. We had USB webcams and mics and things like that. I mean, I remember when we started the pandemic, I had a headset with a microphone. And I got called an air traffic controller by Tony.
Yep. I had a green screen and like lighting, and everybody's like, "Well, dang, are you going to do the weather now?" Or,
but I agree with you. The convenience have just been amazing. But at least in our line of work, there's a big shift at the cabinet to like butts in seats, having people go back in-person meetings. You talk about conferences. I mean, we missed out on 2 years of conferences at least, and it hurt because there's stuff that happens at conferences, like during the social events and after hours and in the hallways.
Team building,
building, they turn into projects, they turn into ideas.
Sure.
And that stuff is hard to, I think it's hard to quantify.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I would say that's something I wouldn't have thought of, not really being in a corporate setting. But yeah, I can totally see that.
But like a staff meeting for an Applebee's, I think that makes perfect sense. Get on Zoom, you know, and you don't have to pay all your folks to come in and give them the free soft drinks they're going to get or whatever it is that's going on. But, I think,
it's definitely two sides to the coin.
Yeah.
There's one last point that I have here that I feel strongly about. And I've got a couple that I'm not even going to get to, but casual fashion. Have you noticed since the pandemic that everybody walks around like they've just gotten back from the gym, even though most of them look like they don't go to the gym?
Yeah, definitely. And even like walking through campus, you can see a lot of that. But I don't know, that I've always been sort of a casual, sloppy dresser, so that sort of thing not only doesn't really bother me, I'm like, yeah, more power, let's do it. I'm going to dress sloppy too. So,
did you ever leave the house in slippers?
So, no. I do not wear slippers or
Crocs,
sweatpants, or Crocs. I don't own them. I won't wear them. That's not true. I do own a pair of Crocs, but it's like if I have to go to the mailbox to get mail, that's when I wear a Croc. There's something in me, and I'm sure one day it'll change, but there's something in me that will not let me slip to the point of wearing sweatpants. I won't, or slippers.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
I think the pajama pants in public is a hard stop. If you're wearing something that shouldn't see daylight hours, I think you need to put that away and have some sense of self-pride.
Sorry, Vincent.
I'm
does it all
the
the time.
t-shirt and jeans guy. I like the casual look, but I think there's a casual look, and then I think I have woken up wearing this, and I just went into public space with flippant disregard for hygiene or dressing myself.
That's amazing. I'm a sweatpants guy. I will leave the house. I guess I haven't in a while. I'd leave the house in slippers, and Kristen just gets on me about it.
Take a shot.
Guess what's happening?
Yes.
So they don't break. I brought a couple just in case.
Just for the audience, Smiley is getting his own shot glass and pouring his whiskey. He offered us some, but we're on the clock, so
they're working, but I'm not.
But he's not.
My day off today. I'm just going to do a baby one, so I can still maybe drive out of here.
There you go. We'll get you an Uber.
There you go.
Well, I guess here.
Cheers to it.
Which.
Unofficially sponsored.
Man,
shout out to the whole family at Which, by the way.
I was it was my first Which experience, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely people, lovely food.
Made a comment about the food in jest, and they wanted to make it right. They were talking to us like, what can we do? Turns out it's family owned and operated, and we're never going to talk trash again. They're great.
And I think the whole family listens now, so.
That's good, yeah. Well, I enjoyed mine today. My order came out perfect, and it was hot and fresh and delicious.
And did the folks working in the service industry give you fantastic post-COVID service?
Absolutely, no question about it.
The lady I met today, we mentioned the tipping thing, and she was talking about how, people tip here all the time, and I'm thinking, I didn't tip. I was like,
give you a little wink and a nudge there, like you guys are here a lot. Quit
it's
tipping
so
us.
weird. I mean, as a guy who's only basically made his living in the service industry, tipping is important.
Yeah.
Tipping good service is important. It is shocking, though, how many places ask for a tip now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ruining it for for the people who make their living doing it that way. It's odd.
Do you find that you have especially a negative attitude towards like tire discounters when they flip it around? I don't know if they do that, or not, but but a place that clearly isn't providing you with any level of service beyond what would be expected in a typical retail transaction.
Absolutely. That's an odd, I mean, I get it. Everybody's trying to make a couple extra bucks here and there, but at the expense of, pissing off your clientele, I guess. I don't know. It's an odd trend that we have.
I've learned I can use Apple Pay at the doctor's office to pay the copay now. And I go and do the thing, and then it flips over. Ooh, do you want to add 20% to your copay?
To the doctor?
That is not true. But
oh, man.
Don't give them any ideas. They're already messing with their insurance right now. Awesome. Well, we're over time here. Do you have any final thoughts?
I've got nothing. Thanks for having me. This was really good. Eric had told me that you guys were doing this, and I want to say I listened to a couple episodes, and then my brain just clicked off. I forgot about it, and then we talked again, probably on one of your trips to and from soccer. Yep. I was in between errands, probably, and he mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, like I've probably got 12 episodes to catch up on. So it's been a real treat. I've enjoyed listening, and I've enjoyed being on. So yeah, good job. Keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Oldest friend, not old friend, but oldest
Kentucky friend. Yeah, I'll take it. I like it.
Thanks for listening to the Soapbox, Eric. How can people find us?
Well, conveniently, we put everything on our Linktree site. You can go to Linktree, search SoapBox Lex, and you'll find all of our socials there, plus ways to reach us, ways to engage, and some of our original content, so you can see some of the other stuff that we do.